So, this is a tiny house, about 400 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, nice rooftop deck up there. You've probably seen something like this before. The deck has some seating, great views, composite decking, mood lighting when the sun goes down, and a pool, an actual, working, swim-in-it pool, on the roof of a tiny house. This isn't a render. This isn't a concept from a design school. This is a real home, on a real tiny lot, with a real pool sitting on its roof right now in 2026. And what's even more surprising than the pool itself is how it got up here, what it cost, and the fact that this tiny house is generating more Airbnb income every single month than most people pay in rent. Today we are going into everything. The engineering that makes a rooftop pool possible on a small structure. The container pool revolution making this affordable. The real costs, no sugarcoating. The structural truth that most rooftop pool videos skip entirely. And the money math that explains why a tiny house with a rooftop pool might be the smartest short-term rental investment you can make in 2026. Stay with me. This one is worth it. Subscribe and hit that notification bell right now, because this channel covers tiny living at a depth nobody else does. And stay all the way to the end, because the income section at the finish line is the part that will make you pull out a calculator. You want to see those numbers. Let's go. Before we get into the how and the cost, let's talk about why anyone would put a pool on the roof of a tiny house. Because once you understand it, you realize it's not crazy at all. It's actually the most logical answer to a very specific problem. Here's the problem. A tiny house sits on a tiny lot. A tiny lot is almost no yard. A pool in a traditional backyard needs yard. If you don't have the yard, where does the pool go? Up. The rooftop of a tiny house, particularly a flat roof structure, is often the most underutilized square footage on the entire property. It's not climate controlled. It's not living space. It's just roof. And in 2026, the most creative tiny home designers are asking, what if it wasn't? A rooftop pool on a tiny house does something no backyard feature can do. It gives you water, sky, views, and privacy, all at the same time. You're elevated above the fence line. You're above the neighbors. You're looking at the horizon, not at the side of another building. And when the sun goes down and the LED lights come on, blue water, open sky, nobody else anywhere near you. The experience is genuinely extraordinary. For a short-term rental property, the rooftop pool is the single feature that transforms a cute tiny house into a destination. Guests don't book the room, they book the experience. And rooftop pool on a tiny house is an experience nobody forgets. The question is, can you actually build one safely and affordably on a small structure? The answer in 2026 is yes, but it requires understanding a few things first. Here's the section most rooftop pool videos skip, and it's the most important one. Water is extraordinarily heavy. A standard pool measuring 24 by 12 feet and 4 feet deep holds over 70,000 pounds of water alone. Before you add the shell, the equipment, the decking, or a single swimmer, that's 35 tons sitting on your roof. A standard residential flat roof is designed to handle 20 to 30 pounds per square foot of live load. That is the code minimum for most residential construction. The International Building Code requires a minimum of 40 pounds per square foot for occupied roof areas. New York City requires 60. Chicago requires 100. A pool filled with water, depending on depth, can exceed 150 to 200 pounds per square foot. That is nowhere near what a standard residential roof is designed to carry. And attempting it without a structural engineer is not brave. It is dangerous. So how does the tiny house with a rooftop pool exist? 3 specific answers. Answer 1. The structure is designed from the ground up to carry the load. Steel frame construction, engineered beams, columns that transfer load directly to the foundation. When a home is purpose-built for a rooftop pool, when the engineer is involved from the first conversation, this is entirely achievable. Answer 2. The pool is small, not a lap pool, not a family pool, a plunge pool, typically 8 by 12 to 8 by 20 feet, 2 to 4 feet deep. The water weight is dramatically lower. The structural requirements are dramatically more manageable. And a plunge pool on a rooftop deck is not a compromise. It is a deliberate luxury feature. Plunge pools are the fastest growing pool category in residential design in 2026 for exactly this reason. Answer 3. The container pool. And this is where the whole concept becomes genuinely accessible. Because the container pool is the engineering solution that makes a rooftop pool on a tiny home not just possible, but practical. The shipping container pool is one of the most significant innovations in residential pool design of the past decade. And in 2026, it has become the go-to solution for anyone who wants a pool in a space where a traditional pool is impossible. Here's the concept. A standard shipping container, the same steel boxes that cross oceans carrying cargo, is structurally repurposed as a swimming pool shell. The interior is lined with fiberglass or a high-grade membrane. A filtration and heating system is built in, and the result is a self-contained, structurally robust, prefabricated pool unit that can be craned onto a rooftop deck, an elevated platform, or a hillside, anywhere a traditional in-ground or above-ground pool cannot go. The pioneer of this category is ModPool, the original and most recognized container pool brand in North America, with over 1,500 installations shipped across the US and Canada. Their pools are designed to be placed on rooftops, slopes, decks, and tight urban lots where no other pool option works. What does a mod pool include? Premium Pentair filtration equipment built in, high-performance heating capable of running year-round, swim in January if you want to, micro-bright color LED lights controllable by app, mineral and UV sanitation that cuts chlorine needs by over 50%, and Pentair ScreenLogic 2 app connectivity. Adjust temperature, change LED colors, run the pump, or check equipment status from anywhere in the world, whether you're on the deck or in a different time zone. Container pools are available in standard shipping container widths of 8 feet and lengths from 12 to 40 feet. For a rooftop plunge pool application, the most common configuration is an 8 by 20 foot unit, 5,300 gallons, perfect for a couple or small group, dramatic enough to be a genuine feature, manageable enough in weight to be engineered into a purpose-built tiny home roof system. The cost. A shipping container pool runs $35,000 to $65,000 on average, including delivery and installation for most homeowners, with about $50,000 being the typical spend for an 8 by 20 model. Mod pool starts at $32,500 for smaller models, with costs rising for added features. Compared to a traditional custom in-ground pool, where $100,000 to $150,000 is not unusual, a container pool at $50,000 delivered and crane placed is a dramatically more accessible entry point. Container pools also last decades. Galvanized steel construction. Many owners report 20 to 30 years of reliable operation with proper maintenance. And they use significantly fewer pool chemicals than gunite pools, which saves money and effort every single month. Let's get real and specific, because this isn't just theoretical. Tiny homes with rooftop pools and elevated plunge pool features are being built, listed, and lived in right now across the U.S. The Little River tiny home in Maryville, Tennessee has a rooftop deck accessible directly from the upstairs bedroom, described by guests as a private escape for cocktails and stargazing, with the elevated position delivering a completely private outdoor experience impossible from ground level. In the Texas Hill Country, a tiny home perched at 1,800 feet of elevation, awarded Airbnb's top 5% of homes and a consistent guest favorite, features a private plunge pool for two. What do guests love most about it? The view, the plunge pool, and the private hiking trails, in that order. The combination of elevation and water creates an experience guests describe as unlike anything they've stayed in before. In Waco, Texas, a container tiny home with rooftop deck features color-adjusting LED lights and comfortable rooftop seating, described as right out of an HGTV show. The rooftop deck elevates the guest experience from a cute accommodation to a genuine destination. And at the highest end of the spectrum, a contemporary home in Scottsdale, Arizona features what its architect describes as gravity-defying, acrylic panel-walled, all-Besaza glass tile rooftop pool and spa, cited as an example of engineering excellence. A 10 by 12-foot stainless steel pool and hot tub sits atop a renovated property in the Palisades, described as the crowning achievement of a 3-year renovation. These aren't one-off architectural fantasies. They're a growing category of tiny and compact homes in 2026 that use the rooftop as what it always should have been: the best room in the house. Alright, the number everyone actually wants. What does it cost to build a tiny house with a rooftop pool in 2026? Let's build this from the ground up. The tiny house structure itself. Purpose-built with a steel frame and engineered flat roof capable of supporting a pool. $80,000 to $150,000, depending on size, finish level, and builder. This is premium construction precisely because the structural requirements are non-standard. Your roof is holding a pool. Every beam, every column, every connection point matters. Structural engineering assessment and reinforcement design. $2,000 to $8,000. Not optional. The engineer's report is the document that makes everything else possible and protects you legally and physically. This is the best money you will spend on the entire project. Rooftop deck construction, composite decking, drainage system, safety rails, waterproof membrane beneath. $8,000 to $20,000, depending on size and material quality. The container pool, 8 by 20 foot mod pool or equivalent, delivered and crane placed. $35,000 to $65,000 all in. Budget $50,000 as your working number. Pool deck surround, teak or composite edging, safety fencing or glass rail system. $5,000 to $15,000. Plumbing and electrical connection for pool equipment and heating. $2,000 to $5,000. Total realistic project cost for a purpose-built tiny home with rooftop container plunge pool. $130,000 to $260,000, depending on where you build and how much you customize. That is not cheap, but here's the context that makes it make sense. A traditional in-ground pool alone costs $40,000 to $150,000 before you've built anything above it. A container pool is typically half the price of a comparable custom pool and can be installed 50% faster. And the tiny house itself, at $80,000 to $150,000, is still a fraction of what a traditional home on any comparable lot would cost. The total package, tiny house plus rooftop pool, at $200,000, is less than the median price of a home alone in most American cities in 2026. And what you have is not just a. Here is why the rooftop pool tiny house in 2026 might be the best short-term rental investment available to a private individual with a reasonable budget. Let's use a real-world data point as our anchor. The DQ Tower, a 3-story prefab tiny home in Germany that we covered on this channel in our elevator episode. Rents on Airbnb for $263 per night as a premium small home experience. No pool, just exceptional design. A tiny house with a rooftop pool. A genuinely unique, genuinely memorable, photographable, Instagram-worthy feature. Commands premium nightly rates in the short-term rental market. In destinations like the Texas Hill Country, the Tennessee Mountains, the Hudson Valley, the California coast, and the Arizona desert. Well-positioned tiny homes with premium outdoor water features are achieving $250 to $400 per night. Let's run conservative math. $275 per night. 65% occupancy. That's roughly 20 nights per month. Monthly gross revenue, $5,500. Annual gross revenue, $66,000. Operating costs, platform fees, utilities, pool maintenance, cleaning, insurance, land costs. Roughly $25,000 to $30,000 per year, depending on location and setup. Net annual income, $36,000 to $41,000. On a total project investment of $200,000. That's an 18 to 20% annual return on investment. Cash flow positive, year after year, from a 400 square foot house with a pool on its roof. And here's the compounding factor. Your guests don't book you because you're a tiny house. They book you because you're the tiny house with a rooftop pool. That differentiation means you're not competing on price with every other cabin or cottage in your area. You're in a category of one, and categories of one don't discount. One guest review on the Texas Hill Country property reads, "The view, the plunge pool, and the private hiking trails are what we loved most." They didn't mention the bedroom. They didn't mention the kitchen. They mentioned the pool. First, because the pool is the reason they came. That's what a rooftop pool on a tiny house does to your rental listing. It stops the scroll. It creates the booking, and it generates the review that fills your calendar. We started down there. A compact, beautiful tiny house on a modest lot. Nothing obviously unusual. And up here, a working plunge pool, on a roof, on a tiny house, with a view that most million-dollar homes can't offer. The engineering is real. Container pools are real. Structural engineers who design for this load are real. The income is real. And in 2026, the number of tiny homes being built specifically with rooftop water features as their signature experience is growing every single month. This is not a stunt. This is a design category. And it proves, again, that tiny living in 2026 is not about what you give up. It's about what you gain when you think vertically, think creatively, and refuse to accept that a smaller footprint means a smaller life. Would you build this? Drop a comment below and tell me. Would you live in it? Would you rent it out? Or both? Which, honestly, might be the smartest answer of all. And if you want to go deeper on the wild things designers are doing with tiny homes in 2026, rooftop decks, hidden garages, houses that double in size, elevator beds, the full playlist is right here. Every video connects to this one. Subscribe if you haven't already. New deep dives every week. And I will see you in the next one.